Now that I've up potted my tomatoes, I am starting to notice that some of them are turning purple underneath. And that could be a number of reasons as to why, but two of the most common I think would be, number one would be that it is just too cold. The soil temp is cold, and in turn the plant cannot take up enough phosphorus through its roots, and so they will start turning purple. And the second one being not enough phosphorus. So kind of comes hand in hand. So tomato seedlings are supposed to look like this on the underside. Green, not purple, and mine are starting to look like that. I don't know if you can see the purple underneath there, but I need to take care of that, and I need to do something about it, you know, sooner rather than later. And because a lot of my tomatoes already have two sets of true leaves, some of them I'm going to go ahead and fertilize. Some of the smaller ones I am not going to fertilize yet, but anything that has a couple of sets of true leaves, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I do not have a liquid all-purpose fertilizer, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Job's Organic 444 and I'm going to soak it overnight, and then tomorrow I am going to come back and I'm going to strain it, and then I'm going to use the liquid from that and fertilize some of these tomatoes. And hopefully that'll do the trick. Now the first time around I am going to go really light on the fertilizer because I don't want to overwhelm them, if that's even a thing. I'm not exactly sure how much I'm going to need because I'm going to not only fertilize the tomatoes that need it, but I'm also going to fertilize some of the larger sprouts that I have anyways. But based on the directions here on the back, it says seedlings and new plants, 1.5 tablespoons per 4-inch pot. None of mine are 4-inch pots, so I am probably going to take a 5-gallon bucket and maybe do like a cup or so of this in that bucket. Okay, so I've got a 5-gallon bucket here that is probably filled up for 3.5–4 gallons of water, and I am just going to take a solo cup and probably put half of a cup. I'm not doing anything scientifically because I think it's going to be super diluted, so I don't think it's going to really hurt the plant. So I am just going to put that in here, and then I'm going to let it sit for 24 hours, and then I will come back and water some of my seedlings. Now another thing that you can do is you can put your seedlings on a heat mat to warm up that soil, but I just have so many of them and my heat mats are just not big enough. I don't have enough of them. So I am going to try and do this with the water and the fertilizer and see if that helps. So yeah, I'm going to let that sit and I'll be back. Okay, it has been 24 hours since I added my granulized fertilizer into this bucket of water. And I know I said I was going to strain it, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to stir it around. And then I have somewhere, that's not puppy, that's not puppy. A cup that I am going to use, and I am just going to gently pour this over my seedlings, trying to avoid touching the leaves. And again, I'm only going to do this to seedlings that have 2 or more sets of true leaves, which that basically means like so this is the first set of leaves right here that usually pops out when the seeds sprout, and then here we have 2 sets of true leaves, so 1 set here and 1 set there, and it looks like it's actually getting a 3rd set of true leaves. So this is a good candidate for fertilizer. What does not make for a good candidate to get fertilized is this tomato here, where it just has these first set of leaves, which are called cotyledons, and then This is the first set of true leaves on this particular seedling, so I will not be adding fertilizer to anything that is that small. So as I said, I'm just going to go ahead and stir this around a little bit and just start fertilizing some of these tomatoes. And even if your tomatoes and your seedlings are not turning purple, it's still a good idea to fertilize them at this stage. So I'm just going to pour a little tiny amount, because I did just water everything, but I'm just going to pour a tiny amount in each pot. So I'm going to take a couple of these little seedlings that are purple, and I am going to go ahead and put them up on the heat mat to see if that makes any difference. So I am going to start fertilizing my seedlings every 2 weeks, and I want to start out with a very diluted, probably about half dilution of the fertilizer to water, so that I don't burn my little seedlings, because they are very sensitive when it comes to fertilizing. Once all of my other seedlings start getting a couple sets of true leaves, I will then add them into the rotation of getting fertilized. But yeah, so like I said, this could have been the result of it just being too cold, the soil being too cold, which is a possibility, because the weather in San Diego is crazy. It's all over the place. Right now it's raining. 2 weeks ago it was like 95 degrees. Not really 95, but it was hot, like 90s. So that could be one potential reason why. The other one is just lack of potassium, which can happen from being too cold to where that the roots cannot absorb the potassium through the soil. So heat mat works, and trying to fertilize. So I'm going to go ahead and see if this works, and I will definitely touch base in a few weeks to see how things are going. So I hope that this inspires you to get out there and start your 2025 spring garden, and we will chat soon. Bye.